In progress. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Living Jewishly and to our podcast listeners. Welcome back. We're at Siman Hay, Siman the fifth Siman in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and it says as follows: these are laws pertaining to the required state of cleanliness for a place in which one engages in sacred matters. So any type of sacred matter cannot be uh, handled in a place that is unclean. We good? We understand that? Right? That makes sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So, it is written, when you sit outside and relieve yourself, you shall dig and you shall cover your excrement. For Hashem your God walks in the midst of your camp. So your camp shall be holy, so that he will not see a shameful thing among you and turn away. Mikan lamdu Rabbeinu Zachron L'Bracha. From here, our sages of blessed memory derived shebechol makom asher Hashem Elokecha mishalech imanu, that in any place that Hashem our God walks in our midst, dahainu kishano oskim b'davar shebekdusha, that is when we are engaged in a sacred matter. Kegon Kriya Shema, such as reciting the Shema, Tefillah, praying the Amidah, or Torah v'Kadoma, or studying Torah and the like. Tzarech lios hamachane kadosh, the camp, meaning one's immediate area where he is engaged in these matters, must be holy. Shelo tehei tzoa megula sham, that there shouldn't be any exposed excrement there. V'shelo yeroeh dvar erva, and there should not be any shameful thing visible. Connected panav shall adam hakore o mispal, facing a person who is reciting the Shema or praying. So if there's something, a lewd photograph on the wall, right, and someone's in a hotel, right? Someone's in a hotel, in the lobby there's something on the television which is not appropriate, right? So you can't say Shema. Opposite that, you like realize, oh, 1 second, I got to say the Shema. I didn't, right? Or think of any place a person is at. And a person, wherever a person prays, wherever a person mentions the name of Hashem, needs to be a place which is clean. Which is why we mentioned previously that in the restroom, one cannot recite the name of Hashem, which is why you're not allowed to greet someone with the word Shalom in the bathroom. Shalom is the name of Hashem. You can't mention the name of Hashem. You can't mention the name of Hashem in the restroom. Okay. So, which is why it's a good idea, like we have here in the Torch ladies' facilities, right? We have a separate room because women like to socialize sometimes. So, they schmooze around, right? They talk. That's in a different room than the room that. Okay. There are two ways to counteract the effect of the presence of filth without removing it from the area. One applies to both excrement and urine, and one to urine alone. He says as follows. Even if one is to think of sacred matters, right? Thinking Torah thoughts, you're thinking, oh, I remember the class Rabbi Wolbe said, right? Rabbi Wolbe was right. That's words of Torah. Words of Torah you can't think in such a place, right? In a place where there is excrement or urine, or anything that emits a foul odor. Also, it is forbidden. Until he covers it, as the verse states, and you shall cover your excrement. Or with regard to urine, sheyatil besoch me'araglayim shel pam echad revius mayim. Or he may engage in sacred matters in its presence after putting a revius of water into the urine of one discharge. So what does that mean? So like we have today. Today we have restrooms. How do we remove what's there? We flush, right? We right. So flushing is the same idea, which comes already here in halacha, which says you need to wash it away, right? Or have it be less of a consistency, so that the smell is not there, right? Diluted, exactly. Shaloshno And there's no difference of whether the urine was in the receptacle first, and then he adds water, or whether the water was in the receptacle first. Either way, the water is effective. And if the urine was in the designated receptacle, such as a urinal, diluting it with water does not affect this permit, as will be explained below. All right, because it's not going to be diluting it enough. I mentioned this previously. A Ukrainian bathroom, right? All the water in the world is not going to dilute it. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So now you can continue to see it. The Lamera Glaim shell, and by the way, they charge for those over there. There's someone to tell her at the door to the restroom that you have to pay. In Ukraine, but yeah, in many places, Europe in general, yeah, there's. Yep.
Rabbi?
Yes.
It's a little bit hard to hear.
Hard to hear me.
I can hear you, but it's anybody else. It's just a little hard.
Anna, do you hear me okay?
It's very low.
Just low.
Very low. Hold on a second. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Let's see what happens here. Testing. Okay. How about now? Do you hear me now better?
No. Oh,
Is this better?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Let me see what's going on. What's this over here? How about now?
No, it went back.
Went back to no good?
Right.
Yeah.
No. You're muted.
Is it now?
No.
You said it's lower than before? Okay,
Yeah.
Settings. How about now?
No.
And now? Oh, maybe now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I had this little piece that's supposed to cover the camera was covering the microphone. I apologize. You hear me now clearly?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Perfect. Thank
Okay. Okay, if everyone can I'm just gonna mute everyone. It's a lot of noise. Okay. Ooh, it's quiet now. Okay. To negate urine that came from 2 acts of urination, you need 2 revias of water. 2 revias of water are required to wash it away. And so on and so forth. And even if the urine was absorbed bakarka or beged in the ground or in a cloth, as long as there is still some moisture from the urine, you must pour water there before engaging in sacred matters. Okay, so the way in which to clear the area from this bad odor is to really wash it away with water. If there's excrement on one's skin, even though it is covered by his clothing, it is prohibited from engaging in sacred matters. Shenamar, because the verse states, all my limbs will say, Hashem, who is like you? Be'inon, sheyiyu kulam nikiyim. This verse requires that all of the limbs must be clean when praising Hashem. V'yesh bekilim izeh. There are some authorities who are lenient with regard to this requirement. Aval hanachon lahachmir, but it is proper to behave stringently. Ve'im yesh la'afilu me'at so'a b'piyat habas. And however, if he has even a small amount of excrement in the rectum, afal pishu mechusa, even though it is covered, lakuli alma lo mehani, according to all halachic authorities, the fact that it is covered does not help. Because in its place, where it is considered especially vile. So mi sheyesh lo choli hatchorim, someone who is afflicted with hemorrhoids, it says, see the Magen Avraham, who cites the response of the Radvaz about this case, and he says, Shekosa ve'ein lo takana, where it is written that there is no remedy. Uto sofer v'tzorach lios ve'eino tzorach takana. And the copyist, it is a copyist's mistake, and should read, and he has no need for a remedy. So the idea is that certain people could be afflicted with certain medical challenges, and the idea the person needs to be clean. And if a person is suffering with hemorrhoids as well, the person needs to. Today there's medicine. There's a lot of things that there probably wasn't 2,000 years ago or 500 years ago that can help a person deal with this. But we see that water is the greatest cleanser. Water is the greatest cleanser. It's an amazing thing. Tzrichim liyizar, number 4, seif number 4. Kir must be taken. In any place where there is a reason to suppose Shema yesh sham tzor omer aglayim, that perhaps there is excrement or urine there. Lo yomar sham shum davar shebekdusha. One should not recite any sacred matters there. Ach yivdok esamokum, until he inspects the area. Ve'ein lispalo v'bayis, and one should definitely not pray in the ground level of a building. Imba aliyah yesh makam betunov. If in the place, in the higher stories, there is filth, all right, something which is right. You shouldn't be in a person shouldn't be in a place which is noticeably filthy, right? So if you're going on a tour someplace, and it's like a dirty alley with his garbages and stuff like that, that's not a place to play. Place to pray. That's not a place to pray. And it's not a place to do a Torah class. You find a clean area where a person can. Why? There's a number of reasons. Number one is because Hashem is in our midst. We mentioned this right at the beginning of tonight's class. But also, another reason for that is because you're not going to be able to focus appropriately when there's a bad smell around, when there's a bad odor. Right? There's a story in the Talmud of one of the great sages who was teaching a class, and he announced in the class, whoever ate garlic, please leave the room. Because the smell was so strong that they couldn't focus in their Torah study. Right? So it turns out that the wrong guy walked out. He didn't want to embarrass the guy who ate the garlic. So that's what the Talmud actually tells that story, to teach you how he was how great this individual was, that he didn't want his friend to be embarrassed. He left the room even though it wasn't really him. Okay, so now the seif number 5, the excrement of a very young child, which is not yet malodorous, is not included in this prohibition. And this is, by the way, do you know when a child begins to when the smell of a baby's diaper, for example, right? Do you know when you start eating bread? When you start eating bread, right? But you know it's an amazing thing. Bread is the food of wisdom. It's the food of wisdom. They say, our sages tell us, that what did Eve eat in the Garden of Eden? What did she feed Adam? So everyone says apple because that's the easiest, but right, it was bread. It was actually bread. Bread used to not be such a long process. It used to be you had bread off the tree, right? Now we have to possess a pechot. That was the curse. Was that now with the sweat of your brow you shall make bread, which is going to be a whole arduous process. It used to not be like that. But either way, what was that called? It was the Eitz Hadat. It was the tree of knowledge. Wisdom comes when they start eating bread, but along with that comes other things. Tinok sha'acherim biyamav, When an infant reaches the age when other infants of that age, when they're capable of eating a kezayis, which is about an olive-sized portion, 0.6 or 1.1 fluid ounces of the 5 species of grain, right, which are wheat, barley, rye, oats, and spelt. You see that on the bottom there, number 26, right? Afilu al yidei tafshil, even if only in a cooked dish, bichdei shegadol ochel shiur pras, in the time frame that an adult could eat a half loaf of bread. Dehainu kishenase ben shana. This is that this stage is reached when the child becomes 1 year old. Marchikin mitzvah, so mimei raglov. One must distance himself from engaging in sacred matters, from the child's excrement and from his urine. Bitovi yasher. However, it is good and a worthy practice. Laharchi gamitzos katan ben shmona yamim, to distance oneself even from the excrement of an 8-day-old infant, even though it doesn't have such a smell per se, but still it's proper to distance oneself from it when they're studying Torah. Now, let's just stop for a second and realize the importance that the Torah gives us on cleanliness, not only of the human body. And we'll see, we talk about washing hands before COVID and before the CDC and the NIH and all of these other 3-letter agencies of the US government that tell us that an employee, OSHA, right, that employees need to wash their hands before going back to work, et cetera, et cetera. We see this OCD kind behavior in the halacha, right? It's not OCD. It's actually a good thing. It's for our health. It's for our hygiene. It's for our not only cleanliness of our hands, but also the cleanliness of our minds, right? Because our minds can't function when there's filth, when there's dirt. It can't function properly. Especially when we're studying the word of Hashem, we're studying Torah. It is doubly important for us to ensure that we have our area around us clean. Seif number 6. Tzoas adam af al pi she'ein lo reach ra, human excrement, even if it does not emit a foul odor. V'chein tzoas chatul unemiya, and likewise the excrement of a cat or of a nemiya, which is the type of fowl similar to a chicken or turkey. V'tzoas tarnagol adumi, and the excrement of a tarnagol adumi, which is in English Heiner. You know what that is?
No, I don't.
Never seen that before. Okay. Or a small animal resembling a cat. Some identify this animal as a marten, a weasel-like creature. Marchikin mehem, one must distance himself from them before engaging in sacred matters. V'sha'ar tzoshel behem chayev ha'of, the excrement of other animals, beasts and birds, mistama ena masrachas, generally do not emit a foul odor. Ve'ein tzrichin laharchik mehem, and one need not distance himself from them. Last week I wasn't here to teach the class. He had Rabbi Abrams covering the class. I heard he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
But I was at Camp Young Judea in Texas Hill Country, and guess what you have over there? You have a lot of excrement of deer and other animals that roam the campus, and it really is, it's so beautiful, it's so relaxing. It really is an amazing, we had a whole retreat there, but so can we sit out there where there's clearly excrement around you of these deer and learn Torah, which we did? The answer is yes, because there's no odor to their excrement. Right? Very, very, just what we learn right here. And one need not distance himself from them. However, in the event where they do emit a foul odor, and likewise with regard to a carcass that emits a foul odor, or anything that emits a foul odor due to decay, and likewise with regard to a chicken coop, one must distance himself from them. Additionally, one must distance himself from malodorous malodorous waters. So like a sewage, right? A sewage, it smells so bad. You got it right. So you can't teach Torah or think thoughts of Torah near them. Or steeping waters, in which flax or hemp is soaked. Stamon masrichin generally emit a foul odor, and one must distance himself from them as he would from excrement. Okay, so there's a lot of different different examples of things that we need to distance ourselves from because of their foul odor, but they all make sense to us. Anything that doesn't smell pleasant will not give you the peace of mind with which to be able to focus. Right? I want to share with you an amazing story. I think this is brought down in the Aruch Tzaddik in one of the books here, one of the incredible Musar books. So we talk about things that smell, things that have a bad odor. The Talmud relates a story where one of the great sages was walking with his students, and they were walking in the forest, and they saw a carcass of a donkey. And the student said, "Ugh, it smells, it stinks, it's such a bad smell," right? So what did the rabbi tell them? The rabbi said, "But look at its teeth are so white." Right? Meaning you can look at everything, you can look at how bad it smells, or you can look at something, a different aspect, a different element of it. You can always see something positive, even in the negative. And that's what the message that the Talmud is teaching us, to always see the positive. But still, notwithstanding that, even though it has beautiful white teeth, you can't make a bracha next to it, and you can't learn Torah next to it, because it would be an interruption of our spiritual path of growth. Number 7, excrement which is so dry that rolling it causes it to crumble. Aryeh he ka'afar no longer retains the halachic status of excrement and is considered to be like dust. Vehu shelo yehebo reach ra. This is as long as it does not emit a foul odor. However, im nikshira machmasakor, if there is no odor because it froze due to the cold, kevan shichola lachzor lekadmusa bizmanachom, since it can return to its original state and have a bad odor when warmer weather comes, adayin shem tzoaleo, it still retains the status of excrement, vitzor sheniskasa b'sheleg, excrement that was covered with snow, choshev kisui, is considered to have a status of covered excrement, and one can recite a blessing there. Okay, so this whole Siman is going to continue to talk about the importance of cleanliness and having a healthy body, a healthy, clean body, and a clean environment, in order to be involved in Torah study. All right, so we're going to stop here with halacha. This concludes the first part of our Living Jewishly evening, and we're going to continue with the parsha in just a few minutes. Everyone has the chance to get a snack and a drink, and we'll be back in a few minutes. I'll keep the camera running. I'll turn off the recording.